The rapid rise of the Ottoman Empire said cannot be explained by military strength alone. In its earliest phase, Ottoman power grew from a powerful idea, one that gave meaning to hardship, justified warfare, and united diverse groups under a shared purpose. This idea was the Ghazi ideology, a belief system that framed frontier warfare as both a religious duty and a path to honor, reward, and belonging. In the late 13th and early 14th centuries, Anatolia was a land without stability. Central authority had collapsed, borders were undefined, and survival depended on strength and loyalty. For countless warriors displaced by war, migration, or political collapse, the frontier offered opportunity, but also danger. The Ottomans turned this uncertainty into motivation by presenting their struggle as more than a fight for land. It was portrayed as a sacred mission. The term Ghazi referred to a warrior who fought on the frontier in the name of faith. These fighters believed their battles held spiritual meaning, promising divine favor alongside material reward. For the Ottomans, this ideology became a recruitment engine. Warriors from different tribes, regions, and even ethnic backgrounds were drawn to Ottoman lands, not only by loot or land grants, but by a sense of purpose that transcended personal survival. This belief system emerged naturally from frontier conditions. Along the western edges of Anatolia, Ottoman forces clashed frequently with the Byzantine Empire. These were not large, organized wars, but constant skirmishes, raids, and sieges. Framing such conflicts as holy struggle gave meaning to continuous violence and helped sustain morale in a harsh environment. Ottoman leaders understood the power of ideology. Under Osman their files, warfare was consistently presented as a righteous endeavor. Victories were celebrated not only as military success but as signs of divine approval. Defeats were endured as tests of faith. This narrative strengthened loyalty and reduced internal division, as followers believed they were part of a divinely guided mission rather than a temporary warband. One of the most effective aspects of Ghazi ideology was its inclusiveness. While rooted in Islamic belief, it was not rigidly exclusionary. Converts were welcomed, and origin mattered less than commitment. Turkic nomads, settled Muslims, frontier mystics, and even former Christians who accepted Ottoman rule could all find a place within the Ghazi framework. This openness expanded the Ottomans' manpower far beyond their original tribal base. Religious figures played a crucial role in reinforcing this worldview. Frontier dervishes, scholars, and spiritual leaders traveled alongside warriors, blessing campaigns and encouraging fighters. Their presence gave moral authority to Ottoman expansion and strengthened the emotional bond between faith and warfare. These figures often acted as mediators, educators, and symbols of unity within newly conquered lands. At the same time, the Ottomans carefully balanced ideology with pragmatism. While Ghazi rhetoric emphasized holy war, actual governance remained flexible. Conquered Christian populations were usually allowed to keep their faith, property, and local customs in exchange for loyalty and taxes. This practical approach reduced resistance and made Ottoman rule appear stable compared to the uncertainty of frontier life. The promise of reward also fueled motivation. Successful warriors received land, spoils, and status. These rewards were distributed in ways that reinforced loyalty to leadership rather than individual ambition. Fighters understood that continued participation in the Ghazi struggle brought both worldly gain and spiritual merit. This dual incentive system created a highly motivated and disciplined fighting force. Unlike mercenary armies, Ottoman warriors were emotionally invested in their cause. They were not fighting solely for pay, but for identity. Being a Ghazi carried honor and social recognition. Songs, stories, and oral traditions celebrated frontier heroes, turning successful warriors into role models for others. Over time, this culture produced a self-reinforcing cycle of recruitment and expansion. The ideological strength of the Ottomans became especially evident when compared to their rivals. Many neighboring beyliks lacked a unifying mission and were weakened by internal rivalry. Byzantine defenders, meanwhile, often fought out of obligation rather than belief, frequently isolated and unsupported by distant authorities. Against such opponents, Ottoman forces enjoyed a psychological advantage that extended beyond the battlefield. Ghazi ideology also justified continuous expansion. In a frontier society, peace could be destabilizing. Warriors expected opportunity and reward. The idea of holy frontier warfare provided a reason for constant movement and conquest, preventing stagnation and internal conflict. Expansion was not seen as aggression, but as fulfillment of a sacred duty. This worldview shaped Ottoman political identity. The early state did not define itself through borders or bureaucracy, but through action. Authority was earned by leadership in battle and success in expanding the realm. Leaders who failed to uphold the Ghazi mission risked losing support. In this way, ideology functioned as both inspiration and accountability. As Ottoman territory grew, the Ghazi concept evolved. What began as frontier warfare gradually became state-sponsored expansion. Yet the language and symbolism of holy struggle remained central. Even as institutions developed and administration became more complex, the memory of Ghazi origins continued to legitimize rule and motivate armies. Importantly, the Ottomans did not rely on ideology alone. Military discipline, strategic planning, and effective governance reinforced belief with results. Success validated faith, and faith fueled further success. This interaction between idea and action explains how a small frontier group could expand so rapidly against more established powers. By the mid-14th century, Ottoman forces were no longer just raiders. They had become a structured military society bound by belief, reward, and loyalty. The Ghazi ideology had transformed scattered fighters into a cohesive force capable of sustained campaigns and long-term control of territory. The broader lesson is clear. Empires are not built by swords alone. They are built by stories, symbols, and shared meaning. The Ottomans mastered this early. By framing expansion as a holy frontier struggle, they attracted talent, ensured loyalty, and created a fighting force willing to endure hardship for a greater cause. As old powers weakened and borders dissolved, the Ottomans offered certainty in a chaotic world. Their warriors believed they were not merely conquering land, but shaping history. That belief, deeply rooted in Ghazi ideology, became one of the most powerful engines behind Ottoman expansion and one of the defining features of their early success.